All right, what's up guys? So just got out here to the range today. Was gonna shoot on swingers a little bit. So I wanted to make a quick video about how I shoot swingers, right? Side swingers like this in particular. So I'll preface this by saying that none of these ideas are my own. I've been fortunate to train with a lot of really great instructors. And a lot of these ideas is pretty much just gonna be a copy of Eric Graffel's method. So just breaking it down how I view that. So side swinger, pretty straightforward, right? You ask a lot of people how they shoot them. Either, it's at the dwell or they track them, right? Which at the dwell, plus or minus, that's kind of right, but not really. Tracking them, right, is not so good. A lot of people will say they'll track it when it comes out, right? So they'll plant their gun here and they're waiting for the swinger to appear. The problem with that is you're late a lot of the time. So the swinger, right, at the 12 o'clock at the apex is moving as fast as it's going to be going in its arc. Right, from the dwell, it speeds up, and then at the 12 o'clock is max speed, and then it decelerates until it hits the dwell, right? So you're waiting for it right here. You're getting a presentation at it at its fastest speed when it's hardest to shoot. So what ends up happening is, right, guys will wait right here. They fire, and either they're too late, maybe they get lucky, they get a Delta or a Charlie, but a lot of times people are late, and then they follow it down, and usually they can get a second hit at the dwell. The other way people say they're tracking is they'll track it from the dwell, right? So you wait right here, you shoot your one shot at the dwell, and then you follow it up and you take your second shot. The problem with that is, again, being late, having trailing shots, and then also you have hard cover here, so there's potential that you throw it into the hard cover and then you're losing another 2 seconds waiting for it to reappear if you called that, or you're taking the miss. Not so good, right? So shooting at the dwell, right? A lot of people would just shoot it when it's at its actual final dwell, right? So they wait for the swinger to stop, and then they rip 2 shots as fast as they can. That, not so good. It's, you have about 0.1, maybe 0.2, depending on the swinger, for it to turn around, right? So you're having to shoot very fast, very predictive to try and get a good result, and you're gambling a little bit with it. The method that Eric teaches and that I really like is that you shoot right before the dwell. So as the swinger's coming down, you have your sight planted, you're waiting for it, it comes down, right? You go over the D zone, you go over the C zone, you fire your shot in the alpha. It goes to its dwell, right? During that time, you're doing your recoil control, re-aiming, and then you're waiting right here. It starts to come back up, you're firing your other shot in the alpha. Like a 0.35 split, a little bit slower, right? But that allows you to shoot reactive and guarantee, for the most part, plus or minus, that you're gonna have a good result, right? You're removing the luck out of it, or the gamble that you would have. You're not rolling the dice, shooting the swinger. You're guaranteeing, for the most part, that you're gonna have 2 alpha, maybe close Charlies, right? Which is what you want. Another thing, right, when you shoot it with this method, right, people that wait for it at the dwell, right, so they're waiting right here, their dot, so right where the swinger stops is where they're waiting, right? The problem with that is you're only actually getting 50% of the target presentation, right? So you're waiting here, right? Your gun is covering the Delta, the Charlie, and then half of the A zone, and that's where you're trying to fire your 2 shots. Versus if you actually move your gun up a little bit higher and you wait, you're getting the Delta, the Charlie, the entire A zone, and then also almost to the C of the other side, right? So you're getting about 75% of the target, increasing your chances. If something does go wrong, you're getting basically 25% more of target exposure than you would if you were planning lower up, right? If that makes sense. So, gonna go ahead and set it and get a couple reps in and kind of show you guys how I train on swingers like this. All right, so you can see I have my swinger set up behind me, behind the barrels. I have a plate to activate, and then a couple of standby targets, right? Some opens and then some far wide ones. So a lot of people, when they practice swingers, they usually run it as part of a stage, right? So you bring 300 rounds to practice, you end up getting like 10 runs on a stage, 10 reps at a swinger, you're firing 20 rounds out of that 300 actually on swingers, right? Not very efficient, and you're not really getting a lot of reps at shooting the swinger. So a better method is basically Hwansik Kim's designated target drill, where you're gonna activate, go straight to the swinger. Go to the left target, back to the swinger, another target, back to the swinger, the far target, back to the swinger, far one, back to the swinger, right? That allows you to get a lot more reps in shooting the swinger. And as you're shooting the swinger, it's actually slowing down, so you have to stay engaged, and you can't just run on autopilot shooting it, right? Because the swinger, the dwell is actually changing a little bit as that energy is bleeding off. It's going like not as deep each time, right? So you're staying engaged, shooting it, trying to get a nice group on the target. So we're gonna go ahead and run it just like that, and then we'll check the targets. All right, 1 rep, not so good. Let's check the targets. So 2As, Alpha Charlie over here. Coming in these 2 standbys, 2As and Alpha Charlie, not great. And then the swinger. So not a bad group. You can kind of see this really here was my group. The one bad shot, which I called, it was a delta. I knew it was on the board. So there's really no, the timing, you can't really make it up. You just have to live with that delta there. But you can see here, not super great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Alpha, 3 Charlie, and the delta. So definitely some work to tighten it up, but for a cold run today, it actually being cold out and some cold shooting, not too bad. All right, now we're gonna set it up a little bit different. We're gonna patch the targets and then set it up a little bit different. All right, so now we got 1 run in. We're gonna up the intensity, get a little bit more advanced. So this time we're gonna activate, take 2 boards, swinger, 2 more boards, swinger, reload, swinger, 2 boards, swinger. All right, little bit more intense. You know, with the wide transitions, it's gonna be a little bit tight, but it's practice, so we're gonna get after it. All right, make ready. All right, stand by. Right. Stand by. All right, so as you can see, it's pretty difficult. I didn't even make the first pass. I got 1 on it and then had to wait for it again. So this is why we practice, kind of up the intensity, make it harder than it would actually be. So you can see here we have 4 Alphas, 2 Charlies, 3 Deltas. So you can see in pushing the transitions, especially these wide targets, you end up with a lot, it makes it a lot more difficult, right? And you can't really speed up the shooting. We have to work on our transitions to gain more time so that we can get back to this target early and not arrive late. All right, patch the targets and reset the swinger. So we're gonna try 1 more time, the same engagement method, try and speed up our transitions a little bit, get a little bit better result. All right, make ready. Stand by. So again, you can see it's very difficult, right? Doing a drill like this with these wide transitions makes it very hard to have enough time to get back to the swinger, right? But this is why we practice. So we got AC over there. It's AC right there, over pushing the gun, trying to speed up those transitions. We got 2 A's, and then it looks like 4 A's and 2 Charlies. But a good thing is we had a much better outcome on the swinger. So a nice group right here is what I want. A few outside, you know, really just the 2. Everything else is pretty good clustered there in the center. So some improvement, but this is why we practice, to try and get after it. So going to continue to rep this out throughout the day, try to put a couple hundred rounds on this swinger, and then yeah, get after it. So let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments.